Your house in Tokyo is perfect for Thanksgiving. We're all flying in, my sister announced, with 14 flights already booked on my miles. I was standing outside Lecture Hall B, holding a stack of essays against my chest, when my phone buzzed. Miranda never called during my teaching hours unless she wanted something. I answered anyway. That was my first mistake. Or maybe my 1,000th. "Ferdinand," she said brightly, "don't be mad." I closed my eyes. "What did you do?" "We planned something beautiful." The hallway smelled of old coffee and rain-soaked coats. Students moved past me, laughing, carrying laptops, living normal lives where sisters did not sound like natural disasters in human form. "What did you plan?" "Thanksgiving in Tokyo." I opened my eyes. "My Tokyo?" She laughed. "Obviously. Your house is perfect. Mom has always dreamed of seeing Japan. Dad says it might be Nana's last big trip. And the kids are losing their minds. We are all flying in." I gripped the essays harder. Who is fall? Me, Brent, the kids, Mom, Dad, Nana, Aunt Linda, Uncle Ray, Patrick, his girlfriend, and the twins. I counted silently. 14.
"Miranda," I said slowly, "you booked flights for 14 people?
Yes.
To Tokyo?
Yes.
To stay in my house?
Yes.
Without asking me?"
A pause, then with irritation creeping in. "We knew you'd make it complicated." My mouth went dry. "How did you pay for 14 international flights?" Another pause. Then she said the sentence that finally snapped something inside me. "We used your miles." For a moment, I heard nothing. Not the footsteps in the hallway, not the rain, not the students calling my name from inside the classroom. "My miles?" I repeated. "You have so many. You never use them except for your professor things." "My professor things are my job." "Don't be dramatic. We are family." There it was, the family prayer. We are family. It had excused every favor, every unpaid loan, every boundary they stepped over with muddy shoes. My airline miles came from 20 years of work, academic conferences, visiting lectures, research trips, long flights in economy seats while I graded papers with swollen ankles and a stiff neck. I had saved those miles carefully, and Miranda had treated them like a community jar on the kitchen counter.
"How did you get into my account?" "You gave me the password years ago."
"For one emergency. And this is important. This is theft." Her voice sharpened. "Wow, you're really calling your sister a thief?" "Yes." She gasped like I had insulted her children. "You know what? I'm not letting you ruin this. The flights are booked. The kids already told everyone. Mom cried when I told her. Dad said this will bring the family together. At my house. Our family house in Tokyo. It is not a family house. You don't even have a wife or kids, Ferdinand. What do you need all that space for?" I looked through the classroom window. My students were settling into their seats. They knew me as Professor Hale, calm, precise, patient. A man who could explain silence in Japanese literature for 90 minutes without raising his voice. They did not know I had spent my entire life being trained to surrender. "Safe travels," I said. "What?" "Safe travels." Then I hung up. My phone started ringing immediately. I switched it off, walked into the lecture hall, and taught a class on exile. I bought the house in Tokyo 5 years earlier. It was not a mansion.
My family imagined it was because they imagined everything I owned as excessive. In reality, it was a narrow 2-story house in Setagaya with a small garden, a persimmon tree,
and a study upstairs where morning light fell across the desk like forgiveness. I bought it after receiving a long-term research appointment with a university in Tokyo. I spent part of every year there teaching and writing. The house was quiet. That mattered to me more than luxury. Quiet was something I had never had growing up. I was the oldest child, responsible Ferdinand, serious Ferdinand, the one who understood, the one who sacrificed. Miranda was 3 years younger and born with the confidence of someone who had never been told no for longer than 5 minutes. When she broke my things, Mom said, "She's little." When she stole my clothes, Dad said, "Don't be petty." When she crashed my first car, my parents said, "Accidents happen." When I got a scholarship, they said, "Good, that helps us." When Miranda failed out of her first college program, they threw her a new beginning party. I learned early that my success belonged to everyone, but my pain belonged to me alone. By 35, I was a professor. By 42, I had tenure. By 46, I had written 3 books, edited 2 collections, and become the family ATM with a PhD. Mom needed help with medical bills that turned out to include a spa weekend. Dad needed money for taxes, then bought golf clubs. Miranda needed temporary help with her mortgage, her childcare, her kitchen remodel, and one unforgettable emotional wellness retreat in Arizona. Every time I hesitated, the script arrived. You're doing better than everyone. You don't have children. Money is just money. Family helps family. The airline miles started the same way. Years ago, Miranda called crying from Florida because she had accidentally extended a vacation and could not afford the return flight. I was in Kyoto, exhausted after a lecture, and she sounded so helpless that I gave her my airline login to fix it quickly. "Just this once," I said. "Of course," she said. Of course was a lie. After that, miles disappeared occasionally. A small upgrade, a domestic flight, hotel points converted without asking. Whenever I confronted her, she acted wounded.
I thought you said family could use them.
I never said that. You implied it. That was Miranda's gift. She could turn theft into misunderstanding and misunderstanding into my cruelty. Still, I changed most passwords. Not that one. I told myself she would not dare. Then she booked 14 flights to Tokyo. After the lecture, I went to my office, shut the door, and called Ms. Sato, my property manager in Japan. She answered on the second ring. "Professor Hale, is everything all right?" "No," I said. "My family is trying to come to the house without permission." There was a pause. "Your sister?" The fact that my property manager knew that much about my life was embarrassing. "Yes." "What do you need?" "Remove my address from every old booking record, cancel any inactive guest listing, disable every temporary door code, change the lockbox code. Collect any spare keys from the cleaning service. No one enters unless I approve by video call." "I understand." "And Ms. Sato?" "Yes." "They may be loud." Her voice cooled into steel. "Then they will be loud outside." Next, I called the airline. The representative confirmed what I already feared. 14 award tickets had been booked from my account. My password had been changed. Miranda had used my stored information, my security questions, and my miles. "Did you authorize these bookings?" the representative asked. "No." "We can lock the account and open a fraud investigation." "Do it." "Would you like to attempt cancellation?" I stared at my desk. On the wall hung a framed print from a small bookshop in Jimbocho. I had bought it with my own money, carried it home myself, and hung it in the first room that had ever felt completely mine. I thought of 14 people landing in Japan expecting me to fold. "No," I said. "Let the tickets stand for now." The representative hesitated. "Sir?" "They chose to travel. Him only making sure they don't enter my property." That evening, my family began the attack. "Miranda, you are not serious." "Mom, please don't ruin this for everyone." "Dad, call me immediately." "Brent, dude, the kids are excited. Don't be like this." "Aunt Linda, your grandmother is old. Shame on you." I read every message. I answered none. They landed at Narita on Monday afternoon. I knew because my phone exploded at 3:58 p.m. Japan time. Miranda called first, then Dad.
Then Mom, then Miranda again. Then came the texts. "Where is the driver?" The driver. I laughed once, sharply, alone in my kitchen. There had never been a driver. 20 minutes later. "The address isn't working." Then, "The booking disappeared." Then, "Ferdinand, answer your phone." I made tea. At 5:41 p.m., Ms. Sato called. "They are here," she said. My heart kicked once against my ribs. "At the house?" "Yes. There are several taxis and many suitcases. Your sister is speaking very loudly." "I'm sorry." "No need. Officer Tanaka is with me." Oh God. "She is claiming she has permission. He is asking for proof." "And?" "She showed him a screenshot of your airline account." Despite everything, I almost smiled. Ms. Sato switched to video. The screen showed my quiet Tokyo street, now crowded with luggage, tired adults, and children in travel clothes. Miranda stood near my gate, red-faced and furious. Dad had his arms crossed. Mom looked pale and offended. Nana sat on a suitcase like a tired queen. Officer Tanaka appeared on screen. "Mr. Hale," he said politely, "do these people have permission to enter your house?" "No," I said. "They do not." Miranda lunged into view. "Ferdinand," her voice cracked across the ocean, "you cannot do this. We flew 13 hours. "I know. The kids are exhausted. They have parents. Mom is crying. She has a hotel lobby for that." Dad stepped forward. "Enough. Tell the officer we're family." I looked at him through the screen. "You are family. You are not guests." His face darkened. "Don't you dare speak to me like that." "For once," I said, "I am speaking clearly." Mom appeared behind him, eyes wet. "Ferdy, please. This is cruel." I hated that nickname. She used it whenever she wanted me small. "No," I said. "Cruel is stealing from someone, flying across the world, and trying to force your way into his home." Miranda shouted, "We used miles you weren't using. You stole them. You have more than enough." That sentence landed like a key turning in an old lock. You have more than enough. That had always been their justification. Enough money, enough space, enough patience, enough loneliness that my needs apparently did not count. I leaned closer to the phone. "Miranda, you broke into my airline account, changed the password, booked 14 flights without permission, and brought everyone to my private home after I said no." "You would have said no anyway." "Yes, I said. Exactly. For the first time, she had nothing ready." Brent muttered something I could not hear. I turned toward him. "Brent, you brought your children to another country with no confirmed lodging because my sister told you I would cave." His jaw tightened. "You always do," he said. The words were not meant to be honest, but they were.
I nodded slowly. Not today. Officer Tanaka took the phone back. We will ask them to leave the area, he said. Thank you. As the call ended, I heard Miranda scream my name. Then the screen went black. I sat there for a long time, tea cooling beside me. My hands were shaking, not because I was sorry, because I had finally let them meet the locked door they had spent years pretending did not exist. They found a hotel eventually. Not a nice one, not central, not cheap. 14 people, last minute, with 29 bags during a holiday travel week. Reality charged them more than I ever had. Miranda sent me the receipt the next morning.
$8,740. Since you caused this, you can reimburse us. I replied, you should ask the person who planned an international trip without lodging. Then I blocked her for 12 hours because peace, I was learning, sometimes required technology. Thanksgiving Day came. They spent it in Tokyo, eating convenience store food in a hotel room. I know because Miranda posted photos online. The caption said, "When family abandons you in a foreign country, you learn who truly matters." She tagged me. That was her mistake. I had not planned to make anything public. I am a professor, not a performer. I dislike drama, but I dislike lies more. So I posted one statement. My airline account was accessed without permission to book 14 international flights. My private residence in Tokyo was treated as available lodging despite my refusal. No one was abandoned. Every adult involved chose to travel without confirmed accommodation. The unauthorized account access is being handled through proper channels. No insults, no screenshots, no emotional speech. That made it worse for them, because calm truth is harder to fight than anger. By evening, my father called. I answered. His voice was low and furious. Take that post down. You humiliated your mother. Miranda tagged me in a lie. You could have handled this privately. I tried. I said no privately. Nobody listened. She made a mistake. She committed fraud. Don't use legal words against your sister. She used my account against me. He breathed hard through his nose. You think you're better than us because you have degrees and a house in Japan. No, I said. I think my belongings are mine. You owe this family. There it was, the oldest chain. For what? I asked. For raising you. You chose to have children. For supporting you. You supported Miranda. I supported myself. That is not fair. No, it wasn't. Silence. For one brief second, I thought he might hear me. Then he said, "Stop being dramatic." And something in me went cold. I am done, I said. With what? Paying, rescuing, hosting, explaining, apologizing, being your emergency fund and your villain at the same time. You don't mean that. I do. Your mother will never forgive you. That is her choice. I hung up before he could turn my own grief into evidence against me. That Thanksgiving, I ate noodles alone in my apartment near campus and watched rain slide down the window. It was the quietest holiday of my life. It was also the first one that did not cost me anything. The consequences came slowly. The airline restored most of my miles after the investigation. Miranda was permanently removed from any linked access. Fees and penalties connected to the unauthorized bookings went to her. She called it financial violence. I called it a receipt. For weeks, relatives tried to drag me back into the family courtroom. Aunt Linda wrote, "Your grandmother was humiliated." I replied, "She chose to board the plane." Cousin Patrick messaged, "Bro, you stranded kids." I replied, "Their parents did." Mom sent a long email titled, "From Your Heartbroken Mother." It began with memories. My first school play, my childhood love of books, the time I made her tea when she had the flu. Then it turned, as it always did. "Miranda has always needed more help. You have always been stronger. Family means sacrifice. Your pride is destroying us." I read it twice. Then I wrote, "Mom, I am willing to have a relationship with you that is not based on guilt, money, or access to my property. I will not reimburse anyone. I will not provide airline miles. I will not host family in Tokyo. If you want to talk about ordinary life, I am open to that. If you insult me or demand things from me, I will end the conversation. Ferdinand." She responded 2 days later. "You sound like a stranger." I wrote back, "No. I sound like myself without fear." She did not reply. In January, I returned to Tokyo. When I opened the front door, the house was untouched. That was what broke me. Not damage, not missing objects, not proof of invasion. The absence of invasion. My books were still lined neatly in the study. My cup still sat beside the kettle. The persimmon tree stood bare in the garden. The silence was exactly where I had left it. I sat on the floor in the entryway and cried. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just enough to release the boy in me who had never been allowed to keep anything for himself. Ms. Sato had left a note on the kitchen counter. "Professor Hale, welcome home." I changed the lockbox again just in case. "Officer Tanaka says your family was very energetic. Also, I made persimmon jam. Sato." I laughed through the tears. For the next few months, I lived quietly. I taught. I wrote. I walked to the station in the mornings. I bought vegetables from the same shopkeeper who corrected my Japanese with terrifying kindness. I cooked simple meals. I slept better than I had in years. My phone no longer felt like a threat. Then, in March, Mana emailed me. I almost ignored it, but I opened it. "Ferdinand, I owe you an apology. I knew they had not truly asked you. Your mother said it was arranged, but I could tell from her voice that it was not. I came anyway because I wanted the trip and because everyone said you would give in. That was wrong. Your grandfather used to say, 'Never accept hospitality you had to steal.' I forgot that. Your sister is angry because you stopped being convenient. Your parents are angry because they trained you to be convenient. I am old, not blind. I am sorry. Love, Nana." I printed the email and placed it in my desk drawer. It did not erase everything, but it proved I had not imagined it. Miranda called in April. I watched her name flash on the screen for almost 10 seconds before answering. "What?" She sounded different, tired. "Brent moved out." I looked toward the garden. "I'm sorry the kids are going through that." She gave a bitter laugh. "Not sorry for me?" "What you don't know yet." That silenced her. Then she said quietly, "He said Japan made him realize something." "What?" "That I don't see people. I see resources." I said nothing. They used that exact word. I let the silence stay. The old Ferdinand would have rushed to comfort her. He would have denied it, softened it, offered money for counseling, offered flights, offered anything to stop her pain from becoming the family's next emergency. But I was not that Ferdinand anymore. Finally, she whispered, Do you think he's right? Yes, I said. A breath caught. You were supposed to say no. I know. I don't know how to fix it. You start by telling the truth. To who? To yourself, then Brent, then your children, then me. A long silence passed. Then she said, I stole from you. Yes. I knew you didn't want us there. Yes. I thought if we got to Tokyo, you'd be too embarrassed to refuse. Yes. Her voice broke. I'm sorry, Ferdinand. I closed my eyes. For years I had dreamed of hearing those words. But when they finally came, they did not magically heal me. They only opened a door to a room I still had to clean myself. Thank you for saying that, I replied. That's it? That's it for now. Can we ever be normal? I looked at the persimmon tree, small green leaves beginning to return. We were never normal, Miranda. Maybe someday we can be honest. She cried then, and for the first time in my life, I let my sister cry without paying to make it stop. The next Thanksgiving, I hosted dinner in Tokyo. Not for my family, for people who asked before entering. Ms. Sato came with her husband. 2 colleagues from the university came, one homesick American, and one Japanese professor who was deeply suspicious of marshmallows on sweet potatoes. 3 graduate students came because they had nowhere else to go. Officer Tanaka stopped by after his shift with oranges and pretended he was not checking whether my tenergetic family had returned. The turkey was too dry. The cranberry sauce spilled across the kitchen like a crime scene. Someone burned the rolls. Everyone laughed. After dinner, I stepped into the garden. The night was cold. The house behind me glowed with warm light and voices I had chosen. My phone buzzed. A message from Mom. Happy Thanksgiving, Ferdinand. I hope you are eating well. No demand. No guilt, no mention of money. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I wrote back, Happy Thanksgiving, Mom. I am. It was not forgiveness, not yet. But it was a beginning that did not require me to unlock my door. For most of my life, I believed love meant availability. Be available to help, available to pay, available to host, available to forgive, available to become the bad guy whenever someone else disliked the consequences of their own choices. But love without respect is just hunger, and I was tired of being consumed. Sometimes I still picture them outside my Tokyo house, exhausted and furious, waiting for the old Ferdinand to appear with keys. That Ferdinand would have apologized. That Ferdinand would have paid for the hotel, opened the door, given up his bedroom, and called the whole thing family. But peace built on self-betrayal is not peace. It is only silence with a prettier name. So when my sister announced, "Your house in Tokyo is perfect for Thanksgiving," after stealing 14 flights with my miles, I did not scream. I did not beg. I did not explain myself into exhaustion. I simply said, "Safe travels." Then I locked the door to the life I had built. And for the first time, I kept the key.